From my observation, a lot of people brute forcing a hybrid Rubik's Cube mix with Sudoku and Wordoku, which I shall call 4-doku. The probability of brute forcing such architecture is near impossible. The evidence points that Rubik's Cube, Wordoku, and Sudoku is involved thanks to BSpot, and website is 1mil.xyz, in which xyz is defined as three-dimensional. Observation, evidence quote, a Wordoku is a Sudoku with letters. While most Sudoku use the numbers 1 to 9, the rules of Sudoku can work with any set of 9 elements. This is all the info we need to find objects that represents the 1 to 9 anymore. Reading would spend your computation and time for now. This step is the hard part, reducing noise while combining tangential information that turns out coherent. To solve for, Doku requires defining objects with values related to it, which led me to this room due to abnormally large amount of data set resembling 4-doku, which I'll later explain. The impossible part is scouring other room to find hidden clues, which is screen 1 that contains a letter and denotation. The letter is perfect due to being J in reverse, which is a 10, and adding less than denotation means any object less than 10 equates to 9, which is the value we needed for BeastBot. Since screen 1 requires a configuration of reading in reverse, I decided that the next object also needs to be reverse. In order to find the object, I have to observe the close match in fourth room. After observation, it's clear that it's the tank nose that is the most logical one due to clear numbers and signal. The signal is defined by screen 1, meaning screen 1 as a close relation in verbal sounds. If people say this might sound nutty, think about how nutty it is adding C and E that aren't there to spell ice cream. Anyways, I have to use probable possibilities first to see if I am on the right track. The current end product now says word scramble less than J, less than minus 6, 2, 8, 4, 3, 6, 3. I got word scramble thanks to BeastBot as I input a single word scramble and the output is wordoku as keyword. If you encode J with A 1Z26, you get 10. If you observe the equation, it says less than J on word scramble. This means there's 9 values towards word scramble, which is what we needed to fulfill BSpot criteria of finding representation of 1 to 9. In order to save the brain compute, I use an image generator to reverse this image so I don't have to read it in reverse in order to save daily compute. I've made a letter mapping to help format to this equation. You can check the TXT below and input it on an HTML emulator, which is also on the link below. How the letter mapping work is that since J is less than minus 6,284,363, which equates to G based on A1Z26 if you use that cipher backwards, J is minus 6,284,366. Since J is less than G, it actually skips the value of H and I, so we have to use the next sequence of H and I. The term word scramble can be defined as words from Sudoku. My current suspicion is that the IDs on Sudoku probably needs to be converted to words or other method. Currently, this is my question I am working on, but I am sure I am on the right track. Since we have this equation, we can almost solve the grenade equation. Observe from BeastBot, quote, smoke is just a type of grenade, but the other letter matters. This means each letter has individual values, and using my letter mapping, I am surely close to the answer as you get the following since we can define each letters as objects and assign values. My current question is what does this object that looks like an eye or one represents? After pondering, I decided I don't have enough brain compute at the moment and observed the next coherent object, which are motions and colors. Let's start with the colors. If you observe the lights, it's only 9 lights, which represents value 9 along with color yellow. In this room, there's a total of 3 different colors, which most likely represents Rubik's Cube due to have 3 colors. So far, this is my estimated definition. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's the current best value assignment hypothesis as of now. We know J and G are constants. If you observe the tank, there's an arrow which might be to rotate left based on G red. The constant J green doesn't seem to have a rotation due to being in the middle based on how lights are arranged. The yellow is the tricky part. Yellow letters from smoke grenade and variation of yellow indicators seems to be problematic. This data will be used for later to solve 4-doku. The last observation towards the data set is motions. If you observe the door closes in both upward and downward motion with 9 yellow lights. The tank rotates towards Jimmy with this equation function. This light pattern here shows that's a rotation. The light here might represent this is the base arrangement. So far, this is based on how I am observing the world be from this video. We know the highest probability that this is in fact related to 4 doku, and this equation has a high probability of being true. This method is better than trying to brute force your way out of near impossible number on 4 doku if you think about it, which are the better odds in gambling time. And always remember the best questions is what we are looking for, and sometimes the best questions aren't the easiest.